And we're live. Thank God. Man, I had so many problems today. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. But first, I hope everybody can hear me all right. Everybody hear me okay? I hope. Let's say hi to everybody. Let's see, who was the first one that came? It looked like Thomas Grassy was the first one, and he got the cookie. Good to see you here, Tom. And Hot Dog Pile and Andy got the half cookie. So congratulations there, Andy, and good to see you here. We have Darren Hamill. How you doing, Darren? Good to see you. Joe Rader, Black Rock Central. Good to see you. Gerald Stewart. Good to see you, Gerald. Schuylkill River Valley. John, how's it going? Good to see you. And who else we got here? Chuck Shriver. Hey, Chuck. Good to see you here. And Sparky, 107, 107. Hey, Sparky, good to see you here, man. Let's see who else we got here. Loud and clear, that's good. Let's see, they're not everybody. I got the card. That was do you like that? I'm glad you did, Sparky. I thought it was the least I could do, man. It was really cool, and I says, I'm giving this to Sparky. Hey, Dwight Curley, how you doing, Dwight? Good to see you here. And let's see, is that everybody? Hey, a lot of people jumped in there. High Plains Drifter. Hey, Drifter. How's it going, man? Good to see you here. Okay, I believe that's everybody. I'll tell you, probably I know some of you guys got on early in my other live streams that didn't pan out. Now, I had a lot of problems. Let me start from the beginning. I reformatted my computer last week because I was having so many problems with it. Cameras weren't coming up. Getting errors all the time. It was dog slow. I said, I'm just going to wipe everything off, start over again with a fresh copy of Windows 10, and reload everything, and, it'd be like new. Which it would have been. Except that I had problems from day one. And it's ridiculous. But it's the way things go. With my luck lately. So I had everything working great. Everything was back in the machine, working 100% day before yesterday. So I shut it down and said, all right, I'm going to go home and take care of some other things. And of course, it did an update as I was shutting down the computer. Well, it's not even set up to do updates, but it's doing them anyway. This is Microsoft for you. They suck. So I come back in here this morning. I go to fire up the computer. First, it won't boot. Oh, shit, that's not good. So I did a quick reset, booted up all right. And I went ahead, opened up OBS and, got everything going. My overlay and all program and all, everything worked perfectly. Except that it wasn't. I had 3 instances of OBS on a live stream, for the beginning there that it was all set up to. Well, one was like 10:23 it was going to start. The other two said 6 o'clock it was going to start. I wiped them all off, started over again. Now I get an error when I open up the OBS saying that there's a problem with the stream. So I double check everything looks good, but still having a problem. I said, well, you know what? Screw this. I'm not even going to fuck with it. I shut it down for like the 5th time and decided to use StreamYard. So I open up my browser. I go to type in StreamYard.com and nothing happens. My keyboard stops working. I'm thinking, all right, well, it's a wireless one. Maybe the batteries are toast. So I go hunt down a couple more AAAs for it. I put them in, still nothing happens. When I'm getting a little pissed off, I grab the keyboard by the back end to turn it over for the batteries, and accidentally hit the calculator gray button. Well, the calculator comes up. Oh, and the keyboard works because none of the buttons would work if it were dead. So that's fine, sort of. I still don't understand why I can't do anything else on the keyboard except for a couple of the gray button functions. You can see on here that the ones across the top are in gray. There's like 7 of them there. They worked, but nothing else did. Oh, motherfucker. Well, I have a spare wired keyboard just in case something like this happens. So I run in the house, I get it, bring it out here. Plug it in the USB port, it still doesn't work. Like, all right, something's wrong here. Hey, Ray Burleson, good to see you here, man. Glad you're here. So I'm pulling my hair out by now. I don't know what the fuck's going on, but I figure it's probably got something to do with the update. So I roll back the update. Well, I tried to, and it wouldn't let me. So I'm thinking, well, it's got to be a driver issue because there's no way a wired and a Wi-Fi keyboard could both be simultaneously bad. So I get in a device manager and I'm showing unknown device for the keyboard. I go, well, it's not unknown. It's so I wound up having to go to Logitech's website, downloaded their they have a file there that's good for the keyboard. It does contain drivers in it. I downloaded that, ran it. Well, that fixed the problem. Because apparently the drivers never installed, or, I mean, they did at one point. Then they got uninstalled somehow when they did the upgrade. It's fucking total horseshit, right? So I'm fucking around all day long with this thing. Right? Because I wanted to go to Triangle Hardware. I had to get some lag bolts for, I'll talk about that in a minute too, for another AC job I'm going to do. And I finally did make it out there at 2:30 because, like I said, I spent from about 9 o'clock on fucking with this thing at 9 in the morning. I'm really getting disgusted with this crap. I still got to figure out what's wrong with OBS. Now, when I reloaded the OBS, it put the latest version up there. And there may be problems, so I'm going to roll it back to the last version. I think it's 29. Because I think I loaded version 30 in there, and see if that doesn't fix some of the problems. I've had this happen before with OBS. They do an update, I go ahead and get it, and something doesn't work. Like I think it was 27 or 28 version. It wouldn't play nice with my Stream Deck. So I had to roll back to 26, I think is what I wound up going to that until they corrected it in 28. Why don't they fix this shit before they put it out? It's crazy. So anyway, so that's what was going on. I know some of you guys are probably getting a little disgusted because you'd go ahead and sign in, get on the chat, and then the chat would go away like 5 times. But I had no choice because it wasn't working right. At one point, I had the overlay on and I'd type something in the chat and it would pull it up 2 or 3 times, the same chat, just pushing enter once. I don't know what the hell is going on with that either. So I've got that corrected now too, but it's just like bullshit, So anyway, that's enough of that crap. So here we are. Thank God. I was almost ready to throw in a towel and not even do a live stream tonight. I mean, if I don't get this thing straightened out, we're screwed. But I got it straightened out, so that's good. Anyway, I did do some stuff in here last couple of days. I've been busy doing other things outside of the train room, so it's kind of hard to get in here and do a lot of things. Yes, I did have a hard day. And it's really pissing me off too, man. I don't get pissed off easy, but sometimes when shit just don't go right, man, I'm like, this is bullshit. And you want to hurt things, like shoot the computer or something, but that would be expensive, so I didn't do it. But I thought about it. Hey, Bud Files, how you doing? Good to see you here, man. Uh, so anyway, I got a couple of pictures. I just took a couple of stills. I'm probably going to do a short on it maybe tomorrow because I haven't been doing many shorts either. Yeah, Gerald, that seems like that's a big problem right now. I don't know what the hell's going on, Yeah, I think you did get a cookie earlier. Hey, Colonel Cottonbelt, otherwise known as Jason the Train Freak. I got to yell at you guys, man. Keep changing your fucking names. Stop doing that. Between you and Thomas, he's now the station manager. What the fuck is that, Anyway, quit doing that shit, man. Confuses me. Dave, hey, Dave, hey, Crooked River, how you doing, man? He says, that's why I stick with StreamYards. I can't figure out OBS. Well, when it's working, it's great. But every now and then it quits working, and that's a problem. Yeah. So it's just, like I said, it pisses me off. I just I get really disgusted with this shit, It should be easy. I come in here, I turn on the computer, hit a few keys, and everything should be up and running, ready to go. And normally it is. But it seems like the last week or so, not so much. It really sucks. So that's the way it is. Anyway, here's one of the things I've been doing. I've been laying some track. Let's see which one is in here. I want to show Brian this one here. You can see where I've got the main line is the one closest to the edge of the board for the second level. And then there's a siding that goes all the way down to the scrap yard so that you can load and unload things on actually either track. And then if you come back further, there's this branches off here and goes to the electronics place and the tire company because they're rail served. So we've got a rail going there, a siding, I guess you call it, branch line. And then let's see, where's the other one? And then this one here is a different viewpoint, and you can see where, I don't know if you can't see the things there, but you can see where the tracks all come together here, and they go all the way down to around the corner there. But I screwed up because I have to put another turnout probably almost on the far end, but before the corner to go to the helix that's going to be happening at some point in time. Because I have to cut a hole in the wall for that. And of course, like I said, I'm going to get a small, probably a 4x6 shed or 6x8 or something. I'm not sure what yet, but a shed big enough to fit the helix in, which will be attached to this actual shed and have a door outside so they get access to it. And that's where the helix is going to go. Like I said, that may not happen for a while. That may not happen till after hurricane season. I mean, who knows? Well, that's the plan. And as we go around the corner in the back there, we'll be getting into the intermodal yard in the very back. I don't have any pictures of that right now, but when I get some track laid down, I'll take more pictures and we'll see what that looks like. And there's still room for other things over there, which I'm not sure. I got a lot of dead space there that I'm going to probably use. Yeah, see, Tom says, where's the turnout for the helix? It's going to be right behind the turnout that you can see there. Because the top side going out is probably going to be about 10 to 12 feet from the edge wall. From the back wall. And that's where the shed's going to be. It's kind of hard to explain, but hey, James, how you doing? Good to see you here, man. That's the plan. Good one, Jason. I don't change my name as much as my underwear. my latest video explains. Well, I haven't watched your last video. I'm gonna have to look for it. I don't get notifications for anything anymore, hardly. So unless I'm actively looking for something, I don't know about it. Same with, like I said, Thomas Moore. He changes his name probably more times than you change your underwear. Yeah, drives me nuts. Now he's a station manager. What the fuck? So anyway, that's the way that goes. See, did I miss anything else here? So that's what I've been doing on the layout. Not a lot. I say come in there every couple, just for an hour or two, and it takes time to do the track because I've got to glue it down, set weights on it, and I'm not putting any road bed underneath it up there. I didn't feel like I needed it, so there won't be as much traffic up there as there is on the bottom level. And plus, it saved me a bunch of money anyway. So, and then, like you said, once I get past the intermodal yard, on the other wall is going to be a massive staging area. So I want to have enough track there to really hold 100 cars, because I've got like 4 drawers worth of train cars. I know I've got like 150 cars here, and I have really no place to store them other than in the drawer, and I don't like putting them in there. So anyway, that's what I've been doing on that. And let's see, close that down, bring me back up. So I'm still I'm a little sketchy on Stream. I haven't used StreamYard in so long. I used it last week, but I'm still kind of adjusting to what it can do. It's still not quite as good as my OBS, but it helps. and of course, the yard is or the whole place is a wreck. I mean, I can't really change cameras that easily here, but there's stuff everywhere. But it's getting there. Like I said, but there's a lot of crowded stuff going on here. It's a mess. And as I said, I'm not running trains because I got everything so messed up here that I don't know when I'll be running trains. It'll probably be a few weeks. Hey, Anfield Road layout in the loft. How you doing, Lee? Good to see you here. So that's my train stuff anyway. Now 73, everyone. What's 73? Anyway, I also want to add this in there so you guys can see it. And I know once again I can't get it as big as I'd like because I'm limited to what I can do in StreamYard, but this is the flyer for Sparky's meet and greet, which is going to be on August 22nd, 23rd, and 24th of 2025. And if anybody needs a copy of this, I can email you a copy. Just shoot me an email and say, where's the meet and greet flyer? And I'll send it to you. No problem. At least until I get back on OBS, I can blow it up and you'll actually be able to read it. But I just want to remind, every week I'm going to remind everybody to go to Sparky's meet and greet for those who can make it up there. Unfortunately, I won't be able to make it up there, but I'm sure many of you will, which will be cool. All right, so what else have I been doing? Well, I bought another mini split air conditioner. The second one, well, actually it's the fourth one. But it's the second one in the main house. That's going into the back bedroom, which is really Debbie's hobby room, sort of. We just put a new floor in there too for her. And I've got to change out the ceiling fan yet, but I bought a 9,000 BTU mini split for that. Because I've already got the wiring and the disconnect on the other side of the house for the big air conditioner, which I'll be disassembling and running out to the curb because it doesn't work anymore. So we'll have two air conditioners down and one more to go. And I'm thinking about maybe putting one in an 18,000 BTU in either the living room or the back entryway. Not sure where yet. And neither one will be an easy place to put, but that'll be the one for the middle of the house, which is the main part of the house, which will cover the living room, the dining room, the kitchen. Probably my half bathroom would get covered with that too. And hopefully the laundry room and the office area opposite of that. So the 18,000, like I said, that's almost what, that's a ton and a half, I think. That should cover a pretty big area, so we'll be good to go with that. Joe, yes, I do use Thingiverse for some things. I mean, I use Thingiverse. I also use Colts 3D, and there's another one. I can't remember the name of it now, but Yegi. So I use those, all three of those, because sometimes you can't find anything on Thingiverse, and you'll find it on Yegi or you'll find it on Colts 3D. Most of the stuff is free. Thingiverse is all free, but Colts 3D and Yegi do have both pay and free stuff. But if you can't find it on Thingiverse, go to one of the other two. And if they don't have it, ask me if I can make it for you. Because there's a possibility I could do it. Chuck says, in amateur radio, it's best regards. Okay. Oh, that must be what the 73 everyone means. Chuck says, my other hobby. Okay, that'd be cool. I would love to get into that, but I just can't afford it. Yeah. But they say it's a good thing to have, especially if the shit hits the fan. That amateur shortwave radios will probably be the only thing working, especially if you can find an old tube type one, you know. The newer stuff will probably get fried in the EMP, but then again, my pacemaker might fry in the EMP too, so I don't know. I might be dead either way. Yeah, ham it up, Chuck. Good one. Bad one, good one, something like that. That's that. Thomas, how in the fuck do you expect anyone to follow you if we can't find you when you change your name 5 times a day? Tell me about it. That's what I'm saying. It drives me nuts. You know, I mean, I hate to be an asshole and, rag on them all the time, but pick a fucking name and stay with it. You know? I mean, it's ridiculous to change your name like that, man. And I tell you, the best one he had was Spike Man. I think, I don't remember who came up with that one, but it kind of fit him, because he's in a railroad spikes, and why not? I mean, he's had so many weird names, like station manager. Where the hell did he get that one from? Is he fantasizing? Maybe. So I don't know. But ham in many ways. Oh yeah, you got printables too. I forgot about that one. Thanks, Tom. Yeah, I use that once in a while too, but I always forget about that one. They got a lot of newer stuff on there. So sometimes if you can't find newer stuff on the previous three that I mentioned, try printables because they do have a lot of stuff there. Hey, Dave Nish, how you doing? Good to see you here. Can't stay long. Tornadic weather. Oh man, well be careful, man. Prayers to you that you don't get hit with one. That's some scary shit. And I'm a little bit behind here already. Look at that. White says Dwayne is looking for somebody to print him some N scale hay wagons. I'm gonna pass on the N scale stuff, man. I'll do HO. I'll even do O scale, but N scale is kind of just getting too small for me. Tom Grassi might be interested in that, though. You have to ask him. Oh, all right, Tom. That was your idea, Spike. Now, I don't remember, but that was a good name for him, wasn't it? I mean, I said, I don't know why he didn't keep it. It fits him. It's easy to remember. I don't know. I mean, I don't get some of these guys, you know. What the hell? I can't even pronounce that word. Thermionic valves? What the hell is a thermionic valve? Yeah, well, absolutely, Dave. He has. I mean, he's been through like, I'd say at least a dozen name changes in the last couple of years. At least, you know. And he said the only time I know it's him when he talks about a spike. If he talks about that must be Tom, Thomas More, you know. If it wasn't for that, I wouldn't know who the hell he was. And said we still have PTSD from the March 31st, 2023 tornado that hit Little Rock. Missed my house by 3/4 of a mile. Wow. That's fucking close. That's some scary shit, man. You know, we don't really get them here a lot, but when that last hurricane came through, there was one that was about 2 or 3 miles from my house, and it took down there were two houses, and there was a guest house in the middle. The two houses were untouched. The guest house was pancaked. And you know a tornado hit it. I mean, that's the only thing it would pancake that like that. And, you know, and then a little further up the road, which is, like I said, probably about 3 or 4 miles from my house, a little bit closer, the roof off a mobile home was taken off. So, you know, a tornado hit that too, more than likely. So, I don't know. Like I said, some scary shit because, you know, well, my house will handle a pretty decent hurricane. It probably wouldn't stand a chance with a tornado. So I always worry about that a little bit. Yeah, Joe. You go ahead and try that one. Let me know how that works. Yeah. Unlike your clothing, it probably won't shrink. And he says, got as far as a super heterodyne, but no further. Yeah, like I said, that's some pretty cool stuff. I know a little bit about it, but not much. Really not my thing, but I'd like it to be. What we got here? The EF3 people out. Yeah, absolutely. As I said, some scary stuff, man. I don't envy anybody. I mean, but you know, and I know a lot of you guys probably don't believe this, but there's enough evidence out there that the government or somebody is screwing with the weather. You know, because there's a lot of stuff that shouldn't be happening, and it is. And I don't buy this climate change bullshit. You know, and if you screw with something over here, it's going to mess with something over there because that's the way nature works. You know, and like they seem like they've been targeting Tennessee, Kentucky, that area there with tornadoes. So they moved Tornado Alley to some degree, but then it messed up everything around it, you know. Like, you know, my wife was up in Michigan up until, you know, a couple of weeks ago, and it kept getting snow there. They're still getting snow up there. How the hell do you get snow in June? I mean, it's not unheard of, but it's very unusual, you know. And even the people live there, well, this ain't normal, you know. Same thing with the rains or the droughts. I mean, they got to stop screwing with the damn weather because they don't know what the fuck they're doing. And I said the only reason I think I feel a little safe here because Trump's not that far south of me. And I figure if they mess with me, they're going to be messing with Trump too. And that's probably not acceptable. So it's like this section of Florida seems to be untouched. But the tornadoes do hit North Florida a lot up in the panhandle. You know, same with the hurricanes. They really get slammed hard up there. You can't tell me that's just by accident or it's nature. I think they're aiming these fucking things. Dwight says, I'm under a tornado warning now. The wind's been blowing really hard. And it's 93. Yeah, absolutely. And he said, that might be the tornado that hit my son's house. Yeah, maybe. I said, man, there's some scary shit going on out there. Yeah, absolutely. Stay safe, Dwight. I assume you have a basement or a shelter you can get into. Don't fuck around, man. If it looks like one's coming, get down there and, you know, tuck your head firmly between your legs, and hopefully you won't have to kiss your ass goodbye. All right, John, have a good one, man. Thanks for popping in, and we'll see you next time. Is Ryan Hall is live? Yeah, probably is. Hey, Chuck, I'm just on the other side of Jacksonville, right under the C-130's return flight path. Yeah. And Joe wants to know what decoder you're selling, Jason. Jason says he's got one used Tsunami 221 pin EMD. It's a nice decoder. Dwight says, I haven't been in the basement for a tornado for a while now. I'll count your blessings, but be prepared to get down there anyway. All right. You can't use a 21 pin. No biggie. Your area on the northeast side of the state prone to that bad weather? I'm saying it's crazy, you know. It's just it seems like they're hell bent on killing all of us anyway, you know. They can't get us with the junk food, they'll get us with the weather, and if they can't get us with the weather, they'll find some other damn way to do it. But that's the way it goes. So Dwight text Jason when the stream's over. All right, Dwight's going to buy the decoder. That's cool. So, like I said, I'm working on the other air conditioner. Should have it up and running probably before the next live stream I do, before Thursday. I've got the head unit up on the wall and the coolant tubes out and the drain tube outside already. And all I got to do is really just got to get rid of the old air conditioner, the 4-ton, because that's pretty much where the condenser is going to go. Except I'm going to set it up on the wall. It'll be, you know, hanging on the wall instead of on the ground. And just a matter of hooking up the hoses and the wiring and sucking it down, and we're done, and she's ready to rock and roll. So probably, I hope to have it done. Yeah, I'll probably by maybe Tuesday next week at the very latest. So we'll see. That'll be 2 down, 1 to go. But I've already installed the one here, the one in the guest house, the one in the bedroom. So I've installed 3 already. I'm working on number 4. And then finally there'll be a 5th one, and that'll be it. We'll be done with it. But I tell you, you know, they wanted $9,200 for another 4-ton unit to replace mine with. That's a lot of damn money, more than I can afford, to be honest. So I decided, well, do I really need to air condition the whole damn house all at once? Is there a rat hiding there? Ah, maybe. I don't know. I wouldn't call it a rant. I got rants though. I got another rant coming up right after this. Trust me. But I got thinking about it. Well, shit. The 9,000 or the 12,000 BTU in the bedroom was $600. The 9,000 BTU was $400 in the second bedroom. The 18,000 BTU that I'm going to either put in the living room or the back entryway, I'm not sure which yet. That's going to be about $800. So we're looking at just over $2,000, which ain't nothing. And remember, these things are very cheap to run. They provide both heat and AC, and they'll last probably a lot longer than that big unit does. It less than half the cost, actually almost a third the cost. And I had to work on them, and they're easy to get to. So if there's a problem, I could fix it. You know, it just makes more sense to do. And like I said, even if I ran all three of them simultaneously, it would still be cheaper than running the big one. But the big one running, I remember my guest house got a mini split in it, and when I'm out here, I run my mini split. But during the summer, it's not difficult to see a bill of $450 to $500 a month for electric. All right, most of it's that fucking air conditioner, that 4-ton. So getting rid of that, I should not see more than maybe $250 for an electric bill, which is very acceptable to me, you know. So that's the plan. And Dave said, I did my best at a Jim T rant last Thursday morning. Yeah, you did. I remember that one. I caught the replay on it. I didn't see the show live, but so if Jim falls in a sinkhole, can we use a metal detector looking for silver? Gotta have a lap between us old timers. I don't know if you'll find any silver, but who knows? Uh so rant wise, let's see. Well, I can't do that. Wait a minute. I do have the rant in here, I believe. Let me see. Do I have the? Yeah, I do. Look at that. Is it time for a rant? It is time for a rant. Where the hell that come from? That's funny. He picked up another camera. Shit, I gotta go. I gotta get my other camera back. What the fuck? Hold on a second. Third cam. Not wrong cam. How do I change it? How the hell that happen? There we go. We got the camera back. That was weird. Anyway, yes, it is time for a rant. Yeah. How you do it on purpose, Dave? I don't know what the hell happened there, man. You know, it was like I said, I just did the rant because I have it in a separate file. But then when I came out of it, it brought up that other camera, and I don't know why it shouldn't. It's not even on the list. That's what I'm saying. I like my Stream Deck so much better. But anyway, out with the rant. Comcast. I know you guys hear this shit all the time. I got an email or a text message yesterday from Comcast saying, well, we're going to be doing maintenance from midnight of last night till sometime today in the morning, presumably. So you may lose your service. I'm going, okay. As long as I have it back by 6 o'clock, I really don't care. Well, I never lost a service, so I don't know what the hell they're talking about. And weirdly enough, my service is now slower. it was doing good before they did the maintenance. Now after using the maintenance, I had a different mic now too. Hold on a second. Damn it. Yeah, it did do that too. Okay. And that better, I got the main mic again. Oh, fuck. No, it was a different mic. That's the ones that built into the camera. Like I said, it just changed everything for some reason. I don't know why. That was kind of weird. Yeah, it should be better because, like you said, I got the regular mic now. But so anyway, well, my Comcast, my internet's slower. What the fuck? So I got another text message right before it was around 4 o'clock today saying that, well, we're not done with the maintenance yet. We're going to pick it up again at midnight tonight. And it'll last until tomorrow morning, so you may lose your service again. Well, apparently they screwed up, and rather than just saying we screwed up and we got to fix it, we screwed up, we're just going to do regular maintenance. Lying bastard. So, it's ridiculous. That's true, Jason. I mean, they really are. It's just, I don't know what the hell their problem is. Now, it's weird. My download speed dropped a little bit before they had this thing here, but I was getting about 930, 935 down. And I'm only supposed to get 25 up. Well, now I'm getting 40 up, which of course is a good thing. But now, after they did the repairs, I'm getting about 3 down and 37 up. I mean, why are they having a problem with this shit? It shouldn't be that fucking hard. They're supposed to know what they're doing. Apparently they don't. So I'll wait and see if they get it corrected after tonight's maintenance move. Who knows what the hell happened. If it doesn't get corrected, I'll be calling them and going, hey, you had it working good. Why'd you fuck with it? Stop fucking with things. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Because every time you fix it, you screw it up. T4. Oh, yeah, I remember T4. I haven't heard from him in a long time, man. I don't know what happened to him either. Yeah, ask Tom about Comcast. Wait a minute. I jumped ahead of me here. Could have too many subscribers for the pipe supplied. Yeah, that's possible, I guess. I don't know. I don't know why they're not going to fiber optic anyway. They need to. I believe they have it just north of, like 1 block away from Tom's house. Tom Kavicek, Tom's trading things. He said it's like literally next door to him, and they can't like put a jumper wire over to his house. So who the hell knows when he'll get it? And, I'm about 15 miles south of him. I don't count on getting it anytime soon. Not for maybe a year or two, if even. Lisa, have great stream. Jim, see you on the next one. Have great days. All right, well, have a good one there, Ali. We'll see you next time. And Jason says, internet is like water. Turn on the faucets, you lose water pressure. Same. Yeah, it's probably true. Okay, so you got experience in that. I can't yell at you, though, because you don't work for them. Yeah, he said, it's just, for what I'm paying for it. I was paying $100.33 a month for my service. And then 3 months ago, it went up to $128.99. Like I said, I got a little bit more up speed, but big deal. For that money, I should be getting 1,000 up and 1,000 down. Anyway, we basically we know that's not going to happen. James says, Jason, we have fiber, still get buffering. Yeah, well, I guess you will, but you shouldn't. Like I said, I don't understand the problem here. You know, they're more interested in making money than they are providing good service. And Comcast has always been bullshit anyway. I never liked them when they originally weren't down in Naples. We had that other one. I can't think of the name of them now. They were much better. And Comcast sued them and sued the city of Naples because supposedly Comcast got screwed out of the contract. They supposedly won the bid. And so they sued and they won. So they booted the other guys out and they came in and our internet went to shit like overnight. What the fuck? Fiber is just a connect type that replaced copper. Fiber isn't a set speed. Well, that's true. But fiber is supposed to be faster. So they tell us, so I don't know. And we got Newer from Enola, Pennsylvania, largest rail yard in the world. Cool. Glad to see you here, Newer. If I'm saying that right, I hope. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's ridiculous. There's really no good reason for the internet to be the way it is. Now, you go over to Europe, first off, their internet, their cell service, their cable TV, it's all one system. And it's dirt cheap. And it's way faster than ours. You know, them guys do downloads in like 5 seconds. They could download like a whole movie or something, you know, where it takes, you know, maybe 3 or 4 minutes for us to do it. So they're obviously better over there, cheaper over there. But, you know, this is the problem with America. We get screwed on everything. Because, you know, we're all fucking rich. You know, money's falling out of our asses. Not mine so much, but, you know, somebody thinks it is. I mean, it's ridiculous, you know. Internet should be like $25 a month. That's all it's worth. And it should be 10 times faster than it is. And I'm only paying $22.66 a month for my cell service. I'm with Pure Talk. And I got unlimited text, unlimited talk. And I think I've got 4 gig of data or something like that. But I don't really use the data that much because the phone is mostly home and I can just use the internet for not, you know, for free data. But I don't know. It's crazy. And Jay says, before we went to fiber, I used to have 100 megabytes cable connection. My neighbor is paying for cheapest fiber at 50 megabytes. It just depends on what you're willing to pay. I'm on a 250 megabyte up and down. Yeah. Well, the up is what's important if you're live streaming. If you're downloading, you don't really need the up speed. You know, like I said, I download pretty quick here anyway. Now I'm direct connected to my modem with an Ethernet cable, a Cat 8 cable. Basically a 50-foot cable that I paid like $100 fucking for. They run from this computer right to the modem in the house. But because I can't get up in the attic, I can't run cable or an Ethernet cable from the modem to where my computer is in the living room, because I don't want to have cables on the floor, you know, on the ceiling. So I'm running Wi-Fi on my home computer, and the speeds there are terrible. I get about 350 down and same up speed, but the download speed is not near as good as it is out here. Go figure, right? Well, that's absolutely true there. OBS uses a lot more resources than StreamYard does. Because I mean, it gets iffy on my OBS sometimes. We're here, seems to really be pretty good, but like I said, I don't have as much flexibility here that I do on OBS. So I mean, it is what it is. I'm not going to worry about it. I mean, I got to have it. I mean, I would, if it wasn't for live streaming, I'd say, you know what? Just give me the cheapest service you got. I don't really care. But I wouldn't be able to live stream with it. So I have to have the faster service. Speed test 119, 156. You got 156 up? That's incredible. 119 down, not so much, but the newer says airbrushing, painting, and 3D printing. Loves trucking and VW cars and buses. Cool. Now we do a little bit of 3D printing here. I've got 2 filament printers and 2 resin printers. And I design a lot of my own stuff, so because just the things that I want, they don't exist, and I have to make them. It works out pretty good. So I've had a rough week though. I went to take my Ranger that I got fixed recently. Took it to Publix and to my doctor's. I had to turn in a referral order. So we get to Publix. So I'm idling. I'm sitting out in the car. My wife runs in the store. She'll be in there maybe 10 minutes. I like to idle the truck because it's got air conditioning in it. It's hot outside, so I'll just idle it. Well, it stalls out. Shit, that doesn't usually happen. Start it back up. It's running kind of rough. So she finally comes out. I said, well, we better get to the doctor before this thing quits altogether. Well, I barely made it to the doctor. Step on the gas, nothing happens. I wasn't sure what the hell it was. It wasn't a fuel pump because it wasn't consistent. It could have been a plugged fuel filter, which to my knowledge has never been changed. Truck's got 46,000 miles on it. Or it could have been a mass airflow sensor. Or it could probably be a dozen other things. Anyway, we get to the doctor's office, which was practically across the street from Publix. I go in there, take care of my business with the doctor, come back out. The truck don't run no more. It'll start, sort of half-ass idle, and then just die out. Well, fuck, we ain't going nowhere. Unfortunately, Deb has AAA. So called AAA up. Took about 2 hours to get somebody out there, rollback. Of course, I couldn't get in the damn truck. It was a pretty big rollback. It was almost like a semi, I couldn't climb up in the damn thing, man. I didn't have enough grab handles for me to safely get up in and out. So I'll just wait back here. You go with him, get the truck back in the house, get in your car, come back and get me, which she did. It was a rotten day. It really was. So I go out to the truck a couple days later because he just dropped it off on the other side of the driveway. And I go, I really need to move that thing because it's in the way of everything. Let me see if it'll run. Get in there, turn the key, fires right up, runs like a champ. I got to do a diagnostic on it, which I haven't had a chance to do, but something happened weird there. I got to find out what the hell it is. And I'm afraid to drive it anywhere because I don't want to get stranded again, I've been using my car, which is reliable, but no air conditioning. It really sucks. No, it doesn't get hot. I mean, normally it does. I mean, it runs cool. And I've done it before without any problem, but something might have got hot. Like I said, I don't know. So I'm going to probably sit here. I'll go ahead and I'll idle it in the driveway like during the heat of the day. Well, if it idles fine for 30 minutes, then I won't worry about it. But I have a feeling it's not going to. So, so it's running hot. No, it doesn't run hot. Like I said, the engine runs cool. So I'm not sure. I'm not quite sure. Like I said, I got to put the scope on it. You know, the code reader, and it had to throw in a code. You know, I think the check engine lights burn out because it never came on. It was always on anyway. It's an old truck. You know, it's a 2003 Ranger. It's, you know, you hit 250,000 miles on it. It's a good running truck usually, but something happened there. Yeah, it's possible. I mean, the gauge didn't show it being hot, but you know, I'll check it out, figure out what's going on. But it really sounded like it wasn't getting any fuel. You know, so maybe it was vapor locking, which that usually doesn't happen anymore. But it's possible, I guess. Because, like I said, after the truck sat there for a couple of days, it was cold, and well, you got almost as much time as I've been working on cars since I was 12. I had my own shop for a while, 10 years, repair shop. So I'm, you know, pretty knowledgeable about this stuff, but I have to look at it. You know, like I said, it's just one of those things that shouldn't have happened. I used to do that with my Grand Marquis all the time when I had air conditioning in there. I'd idle it for hours at a time because I was running people back and forth to doctors' offices, and rather than go sit in the damn doctor's office, I'd sit out in the car, listen to the radio, and I just have it idling with the air on, you know, and it never harmed it any. So I mean, and there's controversy over whether you should do that or not. But I did it without any problem, so who knows? So Tech Now, a body shop now. Okay. So I'll look into it. Like I said, I'll figure it out one way or the other. But it's just one of those things. I just, like I said, I've been having kind of bad luck lately, and not really bad, but kind of good luck too. I mean, I've had a lot of good things happen, but yeah, definitely, Gerald. That's what I told my wife. I said, I'm gonna put another fuel filter in that fucker either way, because it's when I bought the truck 5 years ago from a Mexican guy, well, a young man back in Naples. I got a deal. I paid $1,300 for it, and to my knowledge, nothing had ever been changed on it. It was all original. Now I put a starter in it. I put a water pump in it, hoses and belts, of course. Um, and a clutch fan clutch rather, because they said it was bad, although that was debatable. But that's the only things I put in it, you know. The rest of it, I believe, is all original. Original alternator, had the original starter on it. The fact that it lasted 250,000 miles, damn near. Pretty amazing when you think about it, you know. So yeah, I think, you know, probably I would not be surprised if the fuel filter was probably original too. I'll find out when I get under there. No, that's easy enough to change. So yeah, I checked the oil, water, all that other stuff. Everything's good. So really, I did not know that. That's something I probably must have been paying attention to back in my youth. It was a problem for some vehicles, but not a big problem. I mean, I knew guys that had problems with vapor locking, but I never had it. Personally, I never had a problem on any of my cars. So, well, like I said, it's always something, you know. You just, when you think you're ahead of the game, you find out you're not. And I ain't getting no damn younger. I mean, it's getting tough for me to do a lot of shit, you know. I can do stuff if I'm on my feet, high level. Getting on the ground is a problem. Actually, getting on the ground is the easy part. Getting back up is the hard part. Yeah. I don't really like working on my back, but sometimes you just don't have a choice. Like, I wanted to do the starter in the truck. I got down on the ground. I didn't even have enough strength to break the bolts loose. I wish I'd had, you know, air tools, and it would have been no problem. But, you know, working with conventional ratchet and socket, I just couldn't do it. Matter of fact, the guy that did it for me, I had a fireman. I paid him a little bit of money to do it for me. and he had a tough time breaking the bolts loose, and he was young and strong. So like I had zero chance to do. I don't know what the hell they put him on there with, but you know. Yeah, you probably well you're supposed to anyway. You know, like my car, same thing. I'm probably getting due for another one on that because I think the last one I did was about 45,000 miles ago. Uh, so I probably should get under there and change that too. Unless you're also driving a diesel, yeah, well that makes a difference too. But 73 charge off the ham radio. See y'all. Okay, have a good one, man. Hell, changing oil was a piece of cake. Now it's a pain. Yeah, I know. It really is. I mean, I'm having a tough. Anything that I got to do underneath the vehicle is really tough to do, and that's why I haven't fixed the air conditioner on my car yet. I'm really at the point where I'm saying I'm not going to do it. You know, there's a guy down in Naples, a friend of a friend. He said he'd do it for $500. I supply her, and I have everything. I have new compressor, new filter dryer, new everything but the condenser. I don't think you need to change the condenser, so I'm not worried about it. But thank you, Newer. I appreciate that, man. Um, I just, I'm ready to do it. I mean, I don't know when. Probably be in a couple of months or so. I'll just put together the money and drive down there first thing in the morning. I'm sure you could do it in one day and let them have at it, because I mean, if it were up top, now see that's where it's fucked up. The Ford Ranger has the AC compressor on top of the motor. That would be a piece of cake for me to fix. My car, the Grand Marquis, has it on the bottom of the fucking engine. You'd have to take off the passenger tire, probably the inner fender well to really get at it. And it's going to be a motherfucker to get to, They just, I don't know why the hell they build shit. Well, I do know, but it's bullshit, All the GM cars that had always had the compressor right on top of the engine. They were a piece of cake to change out, Well, that's probably true, Ray. I mean, the gas is shit anyway now, too. Hey, Ray Gigliotti, how you doing? Good to see you. Like I said, it's just, and the fact is, I'm getting old and I can't do a lot of shit anymore. And it really sucks. I mean, I'm not going to lose sleep over it, but I mean, I'm used to doing everything. I have been my entire life, If I couldn't do it, it probably didn't get done. So now I'm at a point where I can do it, but I can't do it, The good news is I am losing weight. I'm down to 219 from 236. I'm shooting for 200. If I hit 200, I'll be happy as hell. I'll still try and lose even more than that, but that's my goal, is to get down to 200. And I think my eating habits have changed a little bit, and I'm way more active now. The wife's making sure of that, which is a good thing, So we'll see what happens, but because I'm 236 pounds. I'm only 5'6", Used to be 5'7", I shrunk. And that's a lot of fucking weight to carry around. So Ray says I was 250, now 197. That's a good job too, man. Congrats on that one. It's hard to lose weight. It really is, I mean, the doctors are always up, man. When are you going to lose weight? When are you going to shut the fuck up and leave me alone, That's the kind of attitude I got to have because, like, look, I'm doing what I can, I can't run. I can't jog. I can barely walk, So exercise is not really in the cards that well, And Gerald says, I haven't seen 200 since 1993. Well, that's I don't know. Well, I was doing pretty good. I was at 170 until I had the stroke in 2007. And the stroke, along with the diabetes, I just ballooned up. You know, it sucked. All right, Joe. Thanks for popping in, man. We'll see you next time. Have a good weekend. Uh, yeah, that's true. I wish I had one, Andy, but the thing is, it would cost a fortune to put one, in my garage or anywhere really on the property. So, but yeah, that would be nice. I mean, or a lift even. I would even have an outdoor lift if I didn't have if I had the money to buy one. But they're $4,000, and well, I could pay somebody to do most of the work for less than $4,000. So that's a problem too. That it's very expensive. Hey, it's Heath. What's going on, man? Yeah, fuck you, man. Look, I gotta stand up and show you what this actually says. My wife made fun of me too with it. Ah, I'm gonna get my fat ass out of the chair. It says, moron, a noun, a term coined by Nancy Pelosi, referring to freedom-loving Americans who oppose mask mandates. It doesn't mean I'm a moron. It just means that there are a lot of them out there. So, kiss my ass. Still funny though, right? So he doesn't do Oriental food, can't walk this way. Bad joke. Anyway, classic. Yeah, well, it is a good shirt, man. I got a lot of shirts that are politically, I mostly I get these shirts from Temu, a Chinese company. They're cheap. And I knock the sleeves off of most time because I hate sleeves. But yeah, I do what I do. Yeah, that could be it. I never understood that one either. Now, those are people wearing masks while driving a car. No, I know. Masks don't do shit anyway. I mean, but it doubly doesn't do shit if you're alone in your vehicle. And your windows are up and probably your air is on. What the hell? I refuse. I wouldn't wear one. The only time I wore a mask is when I had to see the doctor, because otherwise the doctor wouldn't see me. I was pissed off about it. Yeah, good one there, man. I went to the kidney doctor, right? I go in there, they don't say nothing. Me and the wife, neither one are wearing a mask. This is like at the height of the COVID season, right? And we're talking. I'm talking to the receptionist. She says, "Well, it's a good thing you got your COVID shot." I didn't get no COVID shot. What are you talking about? Well, you got to wear a mask. I said, "Why?" Well, because you didn't get your shot. I says, "Yeah, but I'm not sick, you know. And if you got your shot, what the hell do you care? You should be protected." She gets all pissed off, right? You're gonna have to wear a mask right now. So we had to put masks on, right? So I said, all right, fine. I had my bandana, which also made no sense. A bandana is not even close to a mask. It just kind of covers your mouth and nose, but not really, because it's open underneath. It's not acting as a filter. So I get in the doctor's office and he goes, I need to look down your throat. So can you pull your thing down? So he's like this far away from my face, looking down on my throat. And I'm going, Doc, you do realize that if I were sick, you just got infected. Yeah. Oh, I ain't worried about it. I said, then why the hell are you making me wear a mask? Because I have to. No, you don't. This is stupid. You have me take the mask off to look down my throat. So if I were contagious, guess what? You're now infected. You're not worried about it. So why am I wearing a mask? Yeah, I guess you got a point. I mean, How hard is this shit to figure out? And I still see people wearing masks. I was in Walmart the other day, another place I sincerely hate, and this guy walking around with a mask on. I'm thinking to myself, why are you wearing that? Nobody's sick anymore, you know. And he probably got the shot. He's going to die anyway because everybody got the shot drops dead eventually anyway. So, but that's supposed to protect you. It doesn't, of course. We already know that, but I say the one guy got on my shit in Home Depot. You're standing in line. He goes, "Where's your mask? It's on your ass, or it's up your ass. What's your problem? You got to wear a mask." No, I got to do nothing. Well, I'm wearing mine. I said, well, good for you. You probably got the shot too, didn't you? Yeah, I did. Well, I didn't. And he's like totally freaking out. And I go, dude, if you got the shot and you're wearing a mask, why are you worried about me? You're protected, right? That's why you got the shot. That's why you're wearing the mask. What do you care? And he's just like, he acts all confused. You got to wear a mask and you got to get your shot. Ain't neither one happening, dude. Get over it. He couldn't get away from me fast enough. Hey, what the fuck? Yeah. I don't know. It's craziness, man. It really is. But, we all know you can't fix stupid, and stupid's everywhere, apparently. So, I wish I could do more in the train room here. But I'm doing so many other things that I only have very limited time to come in there and do something. And that's fine, because I needed a little break anyway. Because, the problem is if you're doing something too much for too long, you get burnt out, and then you lose interest, and then you're in trouble, right? Because you don't want to lose interest in a great hobby like this. So I'm kind of glad that I have to slow down a little bit. It also gives me more time to think about what I want to do. Because one of my biggest problems is I'll get in a hurry. I'll start slamming shit together. It'll look okay, but not great. And then I'm going to look back and go, yeah, I wish I'd have done it this way instead. So now instead of actually rushing to get things done, I'm taking my time. And hopefully I'll do a better job of doing things. Now, I don't have one thing that's critical in this thing. At least I don't have much of it left. That's patience. I don't know what the hell happened to it, but it flew out the window. And I'm seriously lacking in patience. Now, I'm not one of them crazy fuckers who'll start throwing shit around or breaking shit when it don't go right. I'm not that bad off. But, if something's not going well, I'll just say, you know what? I'll step back, take a break. I'll come back another time, and maybe I'll figure it out. And I usually do. Yeah, that's a good idea, Jason. Don't torture your fingers. That's another thing I got to do too. I really got to quit screwing around to some degree. I got to run bus lines for both the 12 volt for the building lights and the pump jacks and all that. And I want to run another bus line for the DCC on the top level as well. I've got some feeders already on the track, so I just have to tie them in. But first I got to drill holes underneath, through the cross braces to run the wires through, because I don't want them hanging down underneath the shelf. And I got to do that in a way where I don't make a mess underneath. So I'm thinking I might take the dustpan, hold it under there with one arm and drill with the other. Most of the pieces will go in the dustpan, the debris, and it'll keep down the mess on the actual layout. Hopefully it'll eliminate it all together. Because that's one of the things I got it fairly clean. Not organized, but at least it's clean. Because when I drilled holes up top, and for like dropping feeder wires down and stuff, and there's literally almost the mess was up top. I took my little a portable vacuum cleaner, and vacuumed it up, and really very little on underneath, on the first level. So that was kind of important to me because I don't want to make a big mess that I'm going to have to deal with. It's all about about precision, absolutely. What's that? Jim, I put newspaper on a lower level when I drill it, catches that. Yeah, and that'll work too. Or even plastic sheeting, that real thin plastic drop cloths. I mean, it's like paper thin. I might get some of that too, and put that stretch of it, and then peel it back when we're done because it's light enough where it won't damage anything under it. But I want to keep all the mess out of there if possible. And you know what I'm talking about because you said you had that problem with the your ballast. You have ballast all over your layout, so that could happen very easily. I want to try and avoid that because that just makes that much more work for me to have to clean up. But I've got a lot of holes to drill. I mean, my cross braces, I think, are 2 feet apart. So I've got, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 per 8-foot section. Right? No. 1, 2, 4 per 8-foot section. 4, 8, 12, 16, 24, 28. 30-some pieces that I've got to drill through. To go all the way around multiple times. I need a total of 4 holes in each brace. 2 for the 12-volt bus lines, positive and negative, and 2 for the DCC, positive and negative. Because I don't want to run them all in the same hole in case there's a problem. One gets hot, shorts, or something like that. Keep them isolated. Of course, they'll be color coded anyway, but so I still got to do that yet, and there's a lot of stuff to be done. Like I said, I'm not really in a hurry. If it takes me a year to do it, so be it. But I really want to be able to get more detail going. Like things look more real. Because some of my stuff's kind of generic. I don't really like generic. I like reality. So, we'll see how it goes. And then, like I said, I watch Dave Thurber, Crooked Dave. He's doing beautiful work on his layout. Tom, you're doing incredible work electrically anyway. Even your stuff is good looking. A lot of you guys are doing crazy great work, I'm thinking I need to be doing the same thing, And the one difference between me and you guys is you take your time and I try and blow through it. So I got to, slow down and think about what I want to do and, what's it going to look like if I do it this way? What's it going to look like if I do it that way, Of course, I'm on a limited budget, but then who isn't? So, we'll see how it goes. Jason says Flying Crow is coming over. Robert's going over to Jason's house, do some ops. Cool. That'll be fun. I got to get my wiring done today. Well, yeah, good luck to you, man. I hope you get it done. But, like I said, it'll take me, realistically, it'll probably take me a week to run those two bus lines. Seriously, because I'm just not going to be in a hurry, and I can only stand up for a few minutes per time. I can stand for 5 minutes, got to sit for 10, and do another 5 standing, another 10 sitting. Well, that's true, Tom, but and they're getting worse, by the way. UPS and FedEx are doing well, but the post office, I swear they're getting slower, There's a lot of talk about UPS and FedEx taking some of the mail, like smaller packages and stuff, off of USPS because they can't get the damn job done right, and the way they're talking, they want to slow down even more. And we're working too hard, Did you guys hear? I read this today. I can't remember the number now. I think it was 12,000, but a bunch of Starbucks workers, Starbucks, the coffee shop, they're on strike because they have to wear certain types of clothing while they work. And they all wear the green, whatever you call that thing, the green vest, which has not been a problem. But now the company wants them to wear black or very dark, solid colored pants and shirt to go with it. And these idiots are crying. We don't want to wear black pants or a black shirt. It ain't fair. We're going on strike. I say fire the motherfuckers, every one of them, and hire people that'll work, regardless of how they have to dress. I mean, what the fuck is wrong with these people? They actually have a union? It must be a real small one because they said 99% of Starbucks workers are not in the union, or they're refusing to strike anyway. Why in the hell would you have a coffee barista union? I mean, how important do they think they really are anyway? And this is the problem with things out there. Like you said, a bunch of damn crybabies. I mean, there's some places you have a dress code where you got to work, What's the problem? Well, I know they're left-leaning, Jason, but still, what the fuck, I don't blame you. Go to 7 Brew. I'd go to this local 7. I mean, I don't drink coffee, but if I would, I damn sure wouldn't pay $8 for a cup of coffee. That's just fucking ridiculous. I don't give a damn what Starbucks is or how great they think they are, but I'm just saying, though, that what the hell is wrong with these people? I mean, yeah, I know they're liberals, but what a bunch of crybabies. We can't wear dark clothes because that's not what we want to do. And they're actually ready to get fired over it. I say let's grant them their wish and fire every one of the fuckers, And how do they even get a union? I mean, why? There's something seriously wrong there, There you go. And he says, I just take a flask. Sodom. There you go. That works. That's what I'm saying. I just don't understand some of the shit that goes on in this country, Like they're crying. I guess we brought a bunch of whites from South Africa. They call them Afrikaners. They're white people that were actually taking care of the black people with food and shit. And the blacks are just raping the women and killing the men. And so apparently Trump I think he said he brought 33 of them over here as refugees. And the Democrats are having a big fucking hissy fit over it. Well, they're white. They can't come here. Well, yeah, they can. Just because they're not fucking brown or black. So what? You want to bring over MS-13 gangs or that other Tren de Agua or whatever the fuck they are. You want to bring gang members over that rob, rape, and kill. But you don't want hardworking white people that are very thankful to come to America and want to become Americans. What the fuck is wrong with this shit, Yeah, you're right, Chuck. You can't fix stupid. You can't teach stupid either. Well, actually, you can, but it's not legal. But it should be. I can fix stupid in a heartbeat, man. Belt-fed machine gun will do the job. Line them up and cut them down. But I mean, it's just so. I mean, it's ridiculous when you get down to it. You hate whites that much, even though you yourself are white. You don't want them coming here and becoming real Americans, but you want, other people's coming here that don't really want to be Americans, just want all the free shit. And I guess Trump had, it was a judge, I think, a judge and his wife, had them arrested. They were harboring an MS-13 gang member in their house, trying to hide them from ICE. The fuck is wrong with these people? And it just doesn't make any sense, Once again, you just can't fix stupid, apparently. And I thought that was funny, though, when I read that Starbucks are going on, some of them, very few of them, actually. Maybe it was 1,000 of them, I don't remember. They're going to go on strike because they don't want to adhere to a dress code. Yeah. Oh, yeah, in California, I think it's LA maybe, or San Diego, I don't remember which. They're getting ready to approve a $30 an hour minimum wage for restaurant workers. You know how that's going to fly, right? Yes, it is, Ray. Ain't no doubt about it. You know why? Because we're a bunch of pussies. If we took care of things the way they used to in the old days, ain't none of this shit would be happening, And unfortunately, you're not allowed to do that anymore. Yeah. All right, Andy. Well, have a good one, man. Thanks for popping in. I'm going to wrap this up pretty soon, too. Maybe another half an hour. I don't think we're going to go much past 8. But thanks for popping in, and we'll see you next week. Sleep well, and don't do anything I wouldn't do, which, leaves you wide open. Yeah, I sometimes I read the news and I just shake my head. I'm going, what the fuck, I have a friend who's a pro-Trump guy. He voted for him just like I did. And he says, I'm so confused. I said, well, about what? He says, well, Trump has been seen hanging out with the SOJ, the Illuminati, the bad guys, I said, well, yeah, but I said, everything he's doing for us seems to be working for the most part. Maybe he's just playing both sides of the sword, I mean, what's that old say, keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer. How could he fight them if he doesn't know what they're going to do? So why not get in close to them, get their trust, and then he can figure out what the hell their plan is and he can thwart it. I mean, that's the way I'm thinking of it. I mean, I hope anyway. And I don't understand why these people have a problem with Trump. I hate Trump. Oh, Trump's a traitor. He's a dictator. He wants to be the king. Who the fuck cares? He can be the king all day he wants, as long as he does away with property taxes, income taxes, gets us cheaper drugs, gets rid of all the illegals. I got no problem with those things. They're all good things. How would you not want those? See, well, you know what I'm talking about, Jason. Absolutely. Hey, Raymond Anthony, 127. How you doing? Good to see you here, man. Ray says, I walked away from it. All I heard was people working in an air-conditioned room, making coffee or complaining about a uniform. Having complaining, I need one that speaks English. Yeah, right. Absolutely, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't get it, A bunch of fucking crybabies. I mean, I worked at places where we had to wear uniforms, They weren't restaurants, but, when I worked as a head mechanic at a Greenscapes I worked for, we had uniforms and they were supplied to us. Like, I'll wear them. Even the golf course, I had a uniform that I wore, Hey, you're paying for this shit. You're washing the crap. I didn't have to wash it. Why not? You want to pay money for me to be in a nice looking shirt and pants? Knock yourself out, I don't give a fuck. And you think that these idiots at Starbucks would feel the same way, but they don't. They're kind of, we don't want to wear black. And I don't think it's the fact that they got to wear black. I just don't. I think they just don't like being told what they have to wear. Because they think they're fucking special. Yeah, got news for them. They're not special. So, That's that. Tom says I had to wear a uniform, 2 jobs, DirecTV and FedEx. Absolutely. It's not that big of a deal. Like I said, most time they take care of it. You usually have a uniform service. You turn them in. They give you 2 weeks worth. You wear the first week, you get dirty, you turn them in, they wash them. Meanwhile, you're wearing the second week's clothes, and you're constantly, they take care of them. I mean, I could have bought my own clothes and trashed them, and I have to wash them. But why? You know, there were places I worked. I wish we had uniforms because I had to wear street clothes. When I worked at the junkyard, we didn't get uniforms. And I tell you what, you talk about trashing clothes in the junkyard. That shit happened about 4 times a week. They couldn't be cleaned. I mean, they were just so trashed. It was done. Jason said, Jim, you ever make a trip to Arkansas, it's mandatory that you wear that shirt you're wearing. I hear you there, Jason. No, probably I won't be coming to Arkansas. Oh, I'd like to. I've never been there. I think the farthest I've ever been was Missouri, and Wisconsin, Minnesota. I came back because I went across. I went through Chicago. That was I'm lucky. I could have got arrested. I'd still be in prison because I take my gun everywhere I go. I don't care. You worry about the problems after you save your life. But I'm going through downtown Chicago with a gun on me, right? 20 years automatic prison term. Even though I had a permit in Florida, it didn't matter. I don't recognize it. And you go to prison 20 years, no questions asked, and no early release. So I said, well, I'm not going back that way. I'll come down from Wisconsin or Minnesota. And I went through I didn't go through. I think I did go through a small part of Kansas and then into Missouri and then over from there. But because I did see the arch in Missouri. That was cool. So I'm not sure what I would wear if I go to New Mexico. I'll just wear a prison uniform because that's where you'll be anyway. Gerald says, I had to wear a uniform most of my adult life. Absolutely. And I said, it's not a big deal, I mean, I wasn't even against it. We never wore uniforms in school. Now, I put my daughters in Catholic school for a couple of years, and they had to wear uniforms there. They didn't care, they were nice. But in public school, I never had to wear a uniform, but they were talking about it. And a lot of the kids were, they wear a fucking uniform. What's the problem? I really didn't have an issue with it. I would have wore one, I said I never had to, but it wouldn't have been that big of a deal if I was, told I had to. I don't care. Like I said, I don't have to wash the damn things. What do I care, right? I think school uniforms you do have to wash, but still, it's just people just they make a big shit out of nothing, It's like you think you were asking them to work, 90 hours a week for 40 hours pay. They're getting ridiculous money to begin with for what they do, and they got the nerve to bitch about the uniform. They won't wear certain colors. What the fuck, I tell you, I don't get it. I really don't. And I think I've been in a Starbucks twice in my entire life. Not to drink coffee, mind you, but to meet up with somebody. I was buying these vitamins program I was on, and the guy that was sponsoring it, he wanted to meet with me to see how I was doing on these vitamins because they were supposed to be really good for you. Turned out they really weren't. But he says, "Can you meet me at Starbucks?" And I don't give a fuck, We had one right around the corner from where I lived down in Naples. That was the first time I ever went to the Starbucks, And they got to give me dirty looks because they didn't buy nothing. It's like, I ain't drinking your fucking $8 a cup coffee. Fuck you. You know, I don't really drink coffee. So, I mean, they had to serve, Coke or Pepsi. I might have gotten one of those. But knowing them, they'd probably want more than it's worth, because it's Starbucks. So, crazy shit. So, that's about it for, normal news that I've been hearing about it. There's a lot of stupid shit going on, but not really worthy about talking. I know they're talking about where the hell are they doing? I think they're doing this out in Nevada. They say 21 states want a copy, but they won't say which ones. They want to sue you if you're an excessive violator of traffic laws. Now, some of the people that they went after already, they were in Nevada. One guy had like something like 214 speeding tickets in like 9 months. He owed like $158,000 in fines. Well, they're going to sue him for it. I guess if you don't pay it, then he'll go to jail. But what the fuck? All right, Sparky, have a good one, man. You're right. I'm always all over the map, but somebody's got to be. Have a good one, man. Thanks for popping in, and I hope you enjoy that card. And we'll talk to you soon. So yeah, they want to sue these people for being like habitual offenders. It's like, okay. Really, the fines are ridiculous anyway. Like I've always said, the problem I've had with it, and I've had a few speeding tickets in my life. I've had some, they call them I forgot what they're called. It's just like, they're not real tickets. They're like, repair tickets, but you get fined for them, equipment, stuff that wasn't right. I've never been hit with reckless or DUI or any of the other shit, but I'm thinking the last ticket I got cost me was $186 for going 10 over. And that's a lot of damn money for going 10 miles over the speed limit, And then the cop can say, well, this is for your safety to slow down. No, it's not. It's for your fucking wallet. If it was for my safety, you'd probably lock me up for the night like they used to do with drunks, for their safety. And so this has got nothing to do with my safety. This is about revenue for your town. Yeah. I got in the cop's face when he got all pissed off about it because, I was telling the truth, I wasn't being belligerent or anything. I just told him, look, dude, don't lie to me. You're doing this because you want to make money. This is not about my safety. I don't think you give a rat's ass about whether I live or die out here, as long as you get your money. That's not true. Yes, it is. Don't lie about it, And eventually he kind of more or less admitted to it, not directly, but indirectly, because that's the truth of it. If they were really doing shit for you, so first off, if it was a safety issue, cars wouldn't be capable of doing 100 plus miles an hour because it would be a safety issue. They'd be relegated to like 40 or 50. And then that brings us to another problem. Hey, Dave, BNSF Ensko, how you doing? Good to see you here. Some of the states are talking about putting speed limiters on your car. I don't know how they work. It's probably electronic and it ties into probably your ALDL connector underneath the dash, and it won't let you speed. And you have to pay for this device and also pay them a monthly fee for it to prevent you from speeding. I'll tell you what, they can shove that right up their fucking asses. You ain't putting nothing on my motherfucking car. My car is designed to do it. It's governed at 113. And I'd like to take that governor off so it'll do 140, 150, But I can't afford to get a reprogrammer to do it. But, but normally I don't go that fast anyway. But I routinely do 100 mile an hour. If I'm on a lonely road and there ain't nothing going on, what the hell? Worst that could happen, I kill myself. My problem, my responsibility, Now, the good news is some of the states, I think maybe part of Texas is raising their speed limit up to 80. And I think North Dakota or South Dakota is going to raise theirs up to 85. You know, I wish we do that here in Florida. Let's raise it to 90 because we're all doing it anyway. You know, I mean, right here on 27, right downtown Sebring, we're doing 80, 90 mile an hour all the time. And the cops do it too. They don't give a shit. We don't get tickets for it. Unless you're driving recklessly, they really don't bother you. They don't care. That kind of cops, by the way, you know. Now, I don't have a problem with that. I think if you're driving safely and you're really not endangering anybody else, what the fuck difference does it make? You know, as if there's stretches of road where it might be 20, 30 miles before you see another car. Why not have unlimited speed? You know, especially on the interstate. The interstate should be like that one in Germany, the Autobahn, which now has speed limits, by the way, because it's no longer unlimited speed. Because the problem over there is when you did see a wreck, it was a fatality. You know, if you got clocked, I mean, guys would do 160, 180, 200 mile an hour. You know, if you wreck, you die. Well, duh. Yeah, Montana, I think, is one of them there, Dave. And you know, there's nobody there anyway. The roads are empty. The 85 on SH 130. There you go. Gerald says 80 mile per hour is only on one toll road, 1130. Okay. Well, I knew there was, you know, some. I mean, Texas, especially, that's a big state. It should be unlimited speed on, was it I-4 and I-10, I think? Is the two main roads that goes across. I don't remember which, but, you know. It said, chances are the only person you're going to kill is yourself if you're that stupid, you know. And realistically, modern cars are designed to do, you know, 150 up. You know, now you take a 60s car, you were doing 120 or 130, that was fast and you felt it. Today you could do 150 in a car, not even realize you're going that fast. So what the fuck, you know, 35 and 10, okay. I knew 10 was one of them. It should be unlimited speed on those roads. Who the fuck cares, you know? And I think it's more about control than it is anything else, you know. Just, well, we got to control people. We can't actually let them have fun on the road. You know, that would be bad, right? But it's stupid. And like I said, now they want to put speed limiters on cars. There was a video the other day. It was on YouTube. I don't know if you've seen it or not. It was a short. It needed to be. It was one of those Dodge Hellcats. Guy got clocked doing 200 miles an hour. All right. This idiot cop tried to throw a tack strip under his car. It just blew that thing away. I mean, it ripped it right out of his hand, really. And, I mean, it was just like a split second. You couldn't even tell what kind of car it was, just a black blur. 200 miles an hour blew by that cop. The cop said, "We're going to go get him." You know, they were making fun of him, you know, in the comments. Just, dude, by the time you get in your car, he'll be in the next county. You know, you ain't catching up to no fucking 200 mile an hour race car. It ain't happening. But it was fucking funny. You know, but I mean, at night even that takes balls to do that. You know, I would do it during the day. At night, I'd be too worried about something jumping out. I mean, even if a cat or let's say a big dog jumped out in your car, that could be, you know, lethal. I mean, it would decimate the dog, obviously, but you can wind up losing control of the car, and that's it. You're done. You know, too many things can go wrong in the middle of the night. I mean, it's dangerous enough during the day, but, you know, still, wouldn't it be fun to do it just once? Nowadays, says my CRV can't go that bad. No, probably not. They said, I'm governed at 113. You know, ask me how I know. But that's all she'll do, not a mile an hour more, you know. And it's funny because they got set up to where it doesn't, because I know some cars that are governed, they'll start breaking up real bad when they hit that governed speed. Mine doesn't. It's steady. It's still running good at 113. It just won't go no more, you know. And you're not even got the pedal to the floor. You can push the pedal to the floor, don't make a difference. It's only doing 113, and that's it, you know. Like you said, if I had a reprogrammer, I could lose that. And that engine is capable of 140, 150 easily. But, yeah, absolutely. The deer. That's what I'm saying. Up north or out in the Midwest, I had a lot of close calls with deer up there myself in Indiana and Ohio. So I mean, I'm not stupid. I'm crazy, but I'm not stupid. I mean, but like I said, I don't really know if it's really, it's against the law to take your own life. I mean, the funny part is if you succeed, what are they going to do? Drag your corpse in the courtroom and sentence you to whatever? Too late. But if you fail, now you're screwed. So if you're going to do it, if you're going to kill yourself, don't fuck it up. Do it right the first time because otherwise it's illegal and they could give you big problems over it. The question is, why is it illegal? It's your life. If you want to throw it away, that's your prerogative, whether intentionally or whatever. I don't see the problem with it. I wouldn't do it. But, there are those out there that say, they can't deal with it and they just, they want to end it. That's on you, dude, But yeah, if you fail, you're in deep shit because it's illegal to kill yourself. Why is it illegal to kill yourself? It's your body. It should be your choice. Well, that's true. Life insurance won't pay out if you kill yourself, and probably even if you wreck at 200 mile an hour, it probably won't either. Hey, well, you're right, Joe. Let's say it's control. It's not about safety or common sense or decency or anything. It's strictly fucking control. They don't want to see you enjoy yourself. They want to keep their thumb right on your fucking head. This is what you're going to do. You're going to do what we tell you, nothing more, nothing less. You're not allowed to have fun. You're not allowed to do things that we don't approve of, that we do ourselves because we're special, I'm saying, I wouldn't be surprised if that guy doing 200 mile an hour was probably a fucking congressman. Could be. Who knows? They never caught him. Yeah. Well, the Congress has an $18 million slush fund that they could tap into for sexual harassment. So if they get accused of raping someone or sexually assaulting someone, they dip into that money to get out of it. It's bullshit, We don't have that. I mean, not that we'd want it. But the fact that they have it and use it tells you a whole lot about the character of our Congress people. So, it's fucked up. That's the way it goes, though. As I said, we may live in the greatest country in the world, but it could be so much better if they would just back the fuck off and let us do our thing. It used to be where you could do anything you want as long as it didn't harm anybody else. Well, they've changed that now. You can't even harm yourself, and that's assuming you're even going to do that. If I do 150 miles an hour in a car, I'm not going to wreck. I'm not stupid. I'm not a bad driver. If I'm going to do it, I pretty much know what I'm doing. And I trust the vehicle. So leave me alone and let me do it, As long as I'm not hurting anybody else, who the fuck cares? It's the same thing about car insurance. The way car insurance should work, but it doesn't, is you pay a fee up front, say like, well, it wouldn't be that much. Let's say $1,000 up front. And you pay the insurance company. That's the only time you pay them until you fuck up. And I don't mean speeding tickets or any stupid shit. It has nothing to do with the cost of insurance. But like if you get in a wreck and it's your fault and there's property damage, now you pay out the ass, until that's paid off. So let's say you destroy somebody's car by hitting it. It costs $20,000 to replace the car. Well, you got to pay $20,000 overtime, of course, just like your insurance now. But all that money goes toward the damage you caused. And once that's paid off, you go back to not paying again until you fuck up again. Now, that would be an incentive to not fuck up, wouldn't it? I drove without car insurance because it wasn't mandatory when I first started driving, and I was just very careful, because I realized if I fucked up, I'm probably going to get sued out of existence and, all kinds of problems. So I was a little more careful driving. That's bad. That's a dad joke of the year. Why does your wife close her eyes during sex? Because she can't stand seeing you having a good time. There's probably some truth to that. Good one, Gerald. Love it. But, that's what I'm saying. If they did things the right way, but it's all for profit. They're making a killing. I'm paying more for car insurance now, not because I screwed up. I have an absolute perfect record, except for a couple of speeding tickets, but that was many years ago. I haven't had a speeding ticket in like 15 years. But all those cars that got destroyed down in Naples last year from the hurricane, I'm paying for that. And so is everybody else in the state of Florida. Well, I wasn't my car that got flooded. Why the fuck am I paying for it? It's bullshit. So, I always said there should be a law made. It should actually be a constitutional amendment that states that no entity or no business can profit off of someone's suffering. So that would mean insurance companies, hospitals, doctors, pretty much anything that makes a profit off of somebody getting sick or dying or whatever would become nonprofit. And you would get better care all the ways around if there wasn't a profit margin. Now somebody I think it was Bobby Kennedy came out a couple of days ago and said, it's come to light that the pharmaceutical companies want you sick and they're purposely making you sick and keeping you sick so they can make big profits. Well, tell me something I didn't know. I've known that for years, probably all you have. Are they going to do anything about it? Probably not. So, it's kind of, once again, it's, talk is cheap. I want to see people hang. Let's see these motherfuckers hanging from a rope. Because, they let cancer victims die when they could have cured them. But there wasn't no money in the cure. More money to watch them die slowly. And they're all guilty of murder. So they should all hang, right? So until I see people dangling off a rope, I don't want to hear anybody's shit. Because it don't mean nothing. Just talk. You're not telling me anything I already know. So, but that's the way everything works in this country. It's all about profit, And it's a shame because it shouldn't be that way. But it is. Anyway, it's 5 minutes to 8, so I'm going to wrap it up here in 5 minutes. The wife's busy unpacking all her loot. She brought a lot of stuff down with her. Well, she took a lot of stuff up with her, but she brought it all down, most of it. There's like 97 boxes in my house full of stuff. She's about halfway through it so far, but she's getting burnt out on it. She says, I'm just don't have the strength to get it all out of the box. Well, you don't have a choice. You got to clean my house up. Now I should probably go in there and harass her some more so she can get it done. Because if I leave her to her own devices, she won't do anything, which I don't blame her. But there's a lot of stuff there, and got to get the place cleaned up. It's kind of funny because every time something happens, I say, that didn't happen when you were gone. What do you mean? I said, well, the whole house is clean 99.5% of the time, because I didn't trash anything. My dogs don't piss or shit on the floor like yours does. Yeah. Little things like that, No, she gets mad at me sometimes. I don't know why you're ragging on me. Well, somebody has to. But it's all in fun. She's doing good. We're doing good together. Yes, it actually did. Came here 2 days ago. These guys, they were nice guys. They were both Hispanics. They spoke good English, but they really didn't know what the fuck they were doing. I mean, they had this big box truck. It was a single truck, wasn't a semi, but it was like maybe a 26, 28-foot box truck. They all had Deb's stuff up in what they call the granny's attic, the overhang. 97 boxes. They had Ruth's stuff, my mother-in-law's stuff behind that, but they had this other woman's stuff in front of all that shit that they had to unload her stuff first. And I'm thinking, why didn't you stop at her place first, whoever this woman was, to get her shit off the truck? Then you just be able to unload Ruth's and Deb's stuff. I mean, they didn't say anything then because, you could tell that they really didn't know what they were doing. They literally unloaded all this woman's stuff in my driveway. And I was worried about it raining. I'm thinking, boy, her shit's going to get destroyed if it gets wet, Furniture, boxes, you name it. A lot of stuff, too, until they were able to get the Ruth stuff. They got her stuff out pretty quick. Then they brought out Deb's stuff. And had to put that woman's stuff back in the truck. And I'm thinking, what the fuck? They got it around 5 o'clock, I think. They were supposed to be here at 3:30. They didn't make it. And they got out right before it got dark, about 8:15, 8:20, right before dark. And so far, none of her stuff is damaged, which is kind of amazing. I mean, some of the boxes were, bent up a little bit, but nothing was, she packed everything really good. Ruth, on the other hand, claims that she's missing 20 boxes, which we think she's full of shit. And some of her stuff did get damaged, because it was old. And, if you don't pack things well, it's not going to do well in a move. It's the way it is, So, of course, they got more money out of the deal. Deb did put up an argument over the money. They wanted $20 more, and she was quoted. She says, "No, I'm not paying it. You get it straightened out." They did. They got it straightened out. They got the $20 taken off. Ruth, on the other hand, wound up with paying, I think, like $200 or $300 more than she was supposed to. And whatever. So anyway, the car is back here. That came down in one piece. She had the car shipped down on truck. There was a dent in the roof. They were supposed to put her car on the top. She said it was on the bottom because there was transmission fluid on her hood. That's possible, but I said anything could have hit the roof, a rock, a hailstone. It was really cheap. I said the only way to really guarantee your car is going to come down here in one piece and clean is to put it in a covered truck. But she got the open truck because it was cheaper. So other than that, though, it came back in good shape. And so everything's back here now. Well, mostly. She had to leave a few things behind furniture-wise. I said, well, you'll just have to replace them at some point, It really would have cost more to ship them down than it would be to replace them. So she's doing okay. Like I said, we're doing actually really good together. We're not fighting or anything, so that's good. But I think she probably learned a very, very valuable lesson. I think the both of them did, to be honest with you. Between the two of them, they spent over $4,000 just in shipping costs, to get their stuff down here. And that's just crazy, And I said, you spent that. You spent another, I think, almost $900 or $1,000 on shipping the car down. And, then plane tickets, because I paid for her plane ticket and the dog. That was $300 and some dollars. And, very expensive adventure, man. So the good news is she probably won't do that again. That's a good thing. But yeah, they actually got it there. And, like I said, everything looks pretty good. Can't say more than that, I guess. Anyway, it's after 8 now, so I'm going to wrap this up. And I'll see you guys next week. Maybe I'll be back on OBS by then, I hope. Like I said, I only have limited time to work on things, but I'll get it sorted out one way or the other. Well, thanks, Chuck. I appreciate that, man. Anyway, you guys have a good one, and we'll see you next week. And be careful out there. It's crazy. Yeah, but if you do got to get crazy, get crazier than the other people. It scares the shit out of them. All right, guys, we'll see. I'm going to put the outro up here as soon as I can find it. Where the hell is it? Yeah, there it is. Wrong one.